Ready? All right, let's call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes.
Roll call.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Excuse.
Groves, here. Fitzpatrick,
Here.
Patrick, here. Randall,
Here.
Walker,
Excused.
Mayor Cramlett.
Here. Okay, additions or amendments to the agenda?
We have none, Your Honor.
Okay, adoption of the consent agenda, which is approval of February 10th, 2020 minutes. Ratification of the bills in the amount of $64,421.36.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, public hearing.
Have none.
None. Action, appointment to committees.
We have none.
None. Request concerning the tourism committee membership.
Back in October or September, the council appointed a citizen to a tourism committee seat. That person has never attended, not responded to emails or phone calls. So we're requesting that the council vacate that position and allow us to advertise for another tourism committee member.
I move to vacate the non-attending tourism committee member and authorize the advertising to fill the vacated position.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Vacate the non-attending tourism committee member and authorize advertising for the vacant position. Discussion. Anything you want to say on that, Bruce?
I think that pretty much does it all.
Okay. Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, appearance of concerned citizens. Anybody want to get up and, we're good? All right, thank you. Reports and presentations, city committees?
We have none other than the minutes
Oh, you
and
got the
meetings.
tourism, okay. Gorge presentation.
Mr. Bub is with us.
Bam, right to it.
Boy, you guys rallied through these. I was going to be here for a while before my turn came up. Well, I'm basically here at the request of Gordon and to be available for questions, comments, input relative to the sit like this so I don't have my back to anybody. Regarding the cable and fiber system in town. And I think that one of the primary reasons is that we've had issues with the old cable system. And just for a little bit of background, when we took over the cable TV franchise 5 years or so, we endeavored to replace as much of the coax system, it's 30 plus years old or more, with fiber on, just over time. And we made a funding commitment to do that. So we've exceeded the funding commitment by orders of magnitude and have replaced probably about, I would say about 2/3 of the cable system has been overbuilt with fiber. And that doesn't mean that 2/3 of the customers have been replaced, their cable service has been replaced with fiber. It means that the infrastructure has covered about 2/3 of town, and we are in a position to where we can bring fiber drops to about 2/3 of the community. And right now we probably have about between 80 and 100 people still getting broadband service on the coax, the old coax system. And then we have probably twice that on fiber, give or take. So we have a lot of people on the fiber network. The fiber network's working amazingly well. It's stable, it's fast, I am not aware of any issues that anybody's having with it. The cable system was working okay until we dropped the TV signal. And once we dropped the TV signal, just the way the amplifiers work and how they responded to the change in signal, the amplifiers started becoming unstable in some places, and also exposed things that we call bleed in the system, where if you have a junction at an amplifier, and then you have a lead that goes 100 feet off to somebody's house and is dangling, there's no signal there, it actually behaves as an antenna, and it picks up noise, and that is introduced in the system, and then we have to rebalance everything. And then we have system bleed, which is from bad connectors, damage to the plant, and so on, and that also has an adverse impact on the plant. And that stuff's all been there on and off from time to time. I don't believe, even when we inherited the system, I don't believe that any of the drops, any of the service drops from the main trunk lines to the customer's house, I don't believe any of those were ever managed or paired if somebody disconnected service. And so that just creates a lot of issues in terms of plant maintenance and keeping the system running. So we were feeling really good, but so what we've done, just to kind of bring you up to speed on what we've done with the actual cable system, when we inherited it, the head end of the cable system was also quite old. We replaced that with a new head end, which is what allowed us to get 50 meg to people as opposed to 5 to 10 meg on the cable system. That was going pretty well, and then we turned down the TV signal itself and just were doing broadband. And it was doing okay, and we found some issues. We retuned things, severed some of the drops that were not being used, fixed some of the connectors, replaced some of the amplifiers. We've been doing this for quite a while now. And then it was running along pretty well, and then just other instabilities came up. Then we replaced the head end again with newer equipment. And that helped a lot as well, but as anybody knows who's actually on the coax system, the old cable plant, knows, we've had a lot of issues, service going up and down. And up until this point, we were feeling very confident that we would be able to resolve all the issues on the coax plant. We have a systems engineer coming out on Thursday and Friday to make one last pass with our guy, just to verify that we're not spending good money after bad and wasting our time. So by Monday of next week, we'll probably have make a decision on whether we're going to bother with any more of the coax infrastructure. If we make a decision that it's not worth maintaining the coax plant, then we've allocated some money already in our budget to just go ahead and replace everybody who's on the coax plant and put them on fiber. If we think there's a good reason to believe that the coax plant can be stabilized and not have any downtime, then that's where we'll go ahead and invest some time and resources in that as well. Because like I say, when it's working very well. So I just want to kind of throw out a little bit of history, where we're going and what we're doing. We've invested, I would say a couple $100,000 in infrastructure improvements for the city and the port. And actually more than that, to be honest. It's probably in the $350,000 range. some of that was, through, working together with Cascade Locks, so. But anyway, you guys have a really nice internet infrastructure here in town, on par with anything you'd find in any fiber-connected community in America. We can offer gigabit speeds. Like I said, it's stable. We do telephone service over it. People are streaming 3, 4, 5, 6 devices all at the same time, and no issues. You know, so I'm super proud of where we've gotten with this, especially when you consider when we took it over, getting 3 meg reliably was difficult at best. And so from a broadband perspective, I feel like we're in a really good spot. I'm not proud of where we are with the coax system. So like I said, early next week, we're going to make a kind of a go, no-go decision on that. If we decide to toss it, we'll still maintain the coax system for as long as we have to, but we'll be way more aggressive on the fiber replacement. So, or I guess the coax replacement with fiber. So the main thing I want to do, and I appreciate Gordon inviting me here, and I'm sorry I missed last time. We had a miscommunication with my staff. But is to just let you guys know, we care, we're working on it, we're not happy with ourselves, and so, you know, if you talk to your friends and neighbors and hear anything about it, one, there's a big difference between fiber and coax. So if you're on fiber, you shouldn't even know what I'm talking about. If you're on coax, you know what I'm talking about. And I want you to know that we've made a huge investment in trying to fix the problems. We're going to continue to do that. And then, like I say, make a decision as to how aggressively to replace. Ultimately, we'll replace everything with fiber. But really the decision next week is how aggressive are we going to be.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Question?
Excuse me.
Bruce, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
So we can just tell the people it's a work in progress yet?
Yeah, you know, we've been managing, we get actually a lot of activity via social media. So for people who are on Facebook, we've got a lot of questions, concerns and stuff. We monitor that super timely. So we're dealing with people. We've already, some people that are in places that have been impacted more than others, we've already replaced them with fiber. And so what I'm really trying to say is not just be patient or hang on, but like work with us. Tell us how much pain you're in. We'll try to get, you know, we're trying to prioritize things based on, not everybody's down always at the same time. I mean, a lot of times that's true, but that's not necessarily always true.
So are they getting any kind of reprieve, like on the cost?
Yeah, on a case-by-case basis, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we're not charging for people for things they're not getting. So all they got to do, I mean, just like everything else, if you have an issue, just let us know. We have yet to fail to work through an issue with anybody. So it really just comes down to communicating with us, and it helps to know if I were a customer here, it would help to know that we're aware, we care, we're working on it, and we want you to call us. We want you to reach out, let us know what's going on. So
Well, I'm sure you're getting the calls, aren't you?
yeah, we are. I mean, I know a couple weeks ago we were down basically again. I know we had a little blip this weekend too, I think, for a little while, but not nearly as bad. So we're definitely weaning, we're getting rid of this stuff, but I mean, some of the stuff we're fixing is 30.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's rat's nests and beehives and, you know, whatever, and some of this stuff, and some things that have been run over by cars and, you know, propped back up with sticks. And I mean, it's what it is, though.
How many customers are on coaxial still?
Probably 80 to 90, somewhere in that range. Yeah, it's quite a few.
Yeah.
I mean, what was happening is, you know, when we started moving people over to fiber, we moved all but there was probably 40 or 50 people left on the coax plant. But then when we upgraded it, replaced the head end, got it to where it could do 50 to 100 meg, people were already hooked up to it or close to it. Like, you know, they already had a coax drop at their house. So all we had to do is plug it back in. And so, yeah, so so then we ramped back up to almost 100 people super quick because we could turn them up right away. And
then it started going to echoing.
and then it started then it started becoming unstable. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's tough, but we're doing the best we can, and like I say, we want people to reach out to us via phone, email, social media, whatever you're comfortable with. Just let us know, and mainly you people here, if, like I said, you're talking to somebody or you hear somebody talking about it or whatever, just like, have you called them? What did they say? You know, did you just keep working with us, and we're quite aware of where we're at.
So it's still Gorge Net though, right?
Yep.
Did you guys,
Oh, sure. I'll
were you
tell
bought
about
out by
that.
a larger outfit or?
No, we didn't get bought out by a larger outfit. What we did was effectively we merged with Eastern Oregon Telecom, based out of Hermiston. So GorgeNet is still GorgeNet, and we created kind of a holding company called Blue Mountain Networks, and Blue Mountain Networks owns Gorge Networks, and they own Eastern Oregon Telecom. And so what the third party brought to the table was money to grow. And so they're helping us. You know, Gorge Networks has always been a company that's grown by reinvesting what we make back into the company. And you can only grow so fast when you do that. And we had a lot of opportunities for growth that just the normal cash flow of the company, it wasn't enough to grow as fast as we wanted to. So basically, what happened was we picked up a financial partner that's allowing us to accelerate
So
growth.
it's still kind of a rural,
Oh yeah.
a rural
Yeah.
business that understands the issues.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still the president
Yeah,
of Gorge
okay.
Networks, and so I'm still here, and my whole crew, we didn't lose one body as a result of this. The people who came in as kind of the third partner in this whole process they've been involved in telecom all their lives as well, and so they just have access to money, and so they're helping us fix the cash flow problem so that we have, you know, like communities like Cascade Locks. It would have been nice to just build it in a year or two, but we're just doing it by reinvesting what we make back into the communities we serve, which is growing. And so it's slow, and this allows us to kind of speed that up.
Good.
So yeah, I'm glad you asked that. It happened my transaction happened in November, so it's been through almost 3 months now since we did this deal. And I think if you were to ask any of our employees, so what's different, they would say, I don't know, did it even happen yet? So,
Would you like to share your phone number to call, not your personal phone
yeah,
number?
sure. Just 541-386-8300. That's just our main line number, or support@gorge.net, or I don't do Facebook, but facebook.com/GorgeNet or something. I don't know. You can look us up however you do that. I try to, I'm not on that very much. So, but support@gorge.net is the email address. 541-386-8300 is the
Number to call.
number to call. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
To complain and sign up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm very biased by this, but you guys made an awesome decision to let us take that system over. Even though we are hitting a few bumps in the road, I mean, I'm super stoked for what we've done here. we have a lot of happy people using the system right
We're
now.
looking in 2 years for that return on our investment.
Yeah,
The 7% of their gross receipts in Cascade Locks will come back to the city in our general fund.
right. Which actually, I mean, up until now, probably wasn't really worth the hill of beans, but I
Right?
think it'll be okay. And that 7% that we're not giving to the city, by the way, we had to double down on that to reinvest back in the plant. That was our commitment. And so we got the 7%. We had to add another 7% on top of that. But we added like another
You did.
107%, which is fine.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah,
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
thank you. Thanks for having me here. Is that it?
That's it? Right?
Great, thank you. You guys are efficient.
Environmental Village presentation.
This young lady is being very brave. This is not rehearsed tonight. She is a very good leader. So she also participated in my camp. So I thought she'd have some things she'd like to share. So I'll start, okay, and then I'll tell you when you can tell them some things that you did last time, okay? So thank you for having us here tonight to talk about the Enviro Village Camp. I am I'm Kirsten Welter. I'm the executive director of Enviro Village. And you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Olivia Holden, just a student of Cascade.
Not just,
Not just a student.
you're a pretty
but
special
student.
student. What grade are you in?
I'm in 4th grade, and I love math.
And she loves math. And I could see Olivia someday being at a table like this, or being in the government or in some position of leadership. So I thought it would be a kind of special experience for her to come to City Council today, right, and see how the government works. Okay. So we're here today to talk about the Enviro Village Camp. And so I'm going to start with the proposal for this year and then do a review of the camp last year. So this year, Enviro Village would like to offer Cascade Locks another 4-week camp during the month of July. I'm really excited about the change this year that it's going to be an outdoor camp, and we're working with the Port of Cascade Locks to do the camp outside on some of the port property off of the East Climb bike path. So I'm going to be submitting an official application to Jan tomorrow to be able to use that land for the month of July. We'll be serving current K through 6 students. I was pretty excited that last year I offered the camp to 6th graders, but they didn't know me because it was a new camp. And this year, our incoming 6th graders that'll be going to middle school, they want to continue with camp, which will be nice with the continuity of camp. And we are going to be partnering this year with the Oregon Episcopal School out of Portland. That school has an outdoor education program, and for the first week of camp, we're going to be piloting this year where they're going to be donating their equipment. So they're going to be bringing out kayaks and stand-up paddleboards for the kids for that first week, and they're also going to be bringing staff that they're contributing that first week. And then they'll have like the life jackets that they're donating and their staff and just their expertise. They actually have a paid teacher, outdoor leadership teacher that does this as his job during the school year. And they want to bring out a group of their 8th, 9th, and 10th graders that first week. And they'll be mentoring our kids. So it'll be this one-on-one match. And these are kids that have been doing outdoor leadership for years at their school. And then part of this pilot and the work trade is that the kids would be camping out here for that first week. And so Mayor Tom, we're going to hit you up to tell some stories to the kids and also just connect with the kids with other aspects of the community to learn about Cascade Locks. And then in addition to that, Enviro Village will also be hiring a camp director, staff, and be working with local partners. Similar to what we did last year, we worked with Arts and Education to have professional artists come into town to facilitate part of our our camp with the kids. We're also gonna hopefully connect with a mountain bike instructor to get the kids actually out on the Easy Climb trail, since it's an easier trail. And studying about ecology. Also, the kids on the Easy Climb trail would have the opportunity to do hiking on site. And I've talked to, other community partners that want to come out and contribute. Intertribal Police has talked about maybe bringing their boat around, and they're really passionate about water safety, talking about life jackets, etc. with the kids. And I know Shauna's dad said that he would, show some of the tricks he does on his boat and stuff like that. So it'll be a neat experience that the kids will be on the water this year and not just at the school. So we were funded, the camp last year, the 4-week camp was funded by a local community member who paid for the camp in full last year through the Oregon Community Foundation. He has said that was a pilot donation, as startup money, and so we are looking for funding this year for the camp. So I'm in front of you all asking the City of Cascade Locks to contribute $10,000 to the summer camp this year. And then the detailed funding request is below. The $1,400 is for the camp administration, so doing the camp recruitment, registration, hiring, and activity planning, purchasing the supplies ahead of time that needs to happen, and we also have to actually prep the land down there and the clearing down by the beach off of not Blackberry Beach, off of Easy Climb, because there's blackberries and other things down there that we need to clear out. And then the $6,900 is for the camp director and staff, and that's for that duration of the 3-4 weeks that we'll need the staff. And then the $1,200 is for arts and education instructors and also having the mountain bike instructor. We have to pay those folks often more money. A lot of times they have their own businesses that we have to pay them for. And then $500 in camp supplies. So our camp supply budget is smaller this year because we have supplies left over from last year. Since it was our first year of camp, we've already invested in scissors and all of those types of things for craft activities. And then we'll be seeking additional funding and donations from businesses and other funding resources for additional costs. Things that, like, we would love to get a fleet of mountain bikes. We don't know how many kids actually have mountain bikes. They might have bikes, but not mountain bikes. Also getting helmets donated. And again, this is something that I would like to do and carry over until to the year too with the bikes, and get the kids outside more often, and maybe even do some like bike maintenance next year and teach the kids about that. So last summer, I'll just do a few highlights, and then I'm going to hand it off to Olivia just to tell you all a few of the things that she did at camp and a few of the things that she enjoyed doing. But similarly, last year we did a 4-week camp. We did it in July. We served, last year it was K through 5. We had 31 kids register and about 20 to 24 kids attend weekly. Last year, our staff, we had a director, a camp instructor there, and then we also have an activity assistant. I cut out the activity assistant this year because now I and the staff have a relationship with the kids. I don't think that we need that assistant. And then again, last year we did several camps and activities, so I will hand this off to Olivia. And she's doing this on the fly for me a little bit, but can you tell them some of the things that you did at camp that you enjoyed doing?
So some of the things that I did at camp that I really enjoyed was like we made these little boards, and like we kind of did like, it was like a little puppet show in a way, like an LED puppet show with like these little not stick figures, but like these kind of like shadow puppets that we made from construction paper, and just like was on a popsicle stick, and like we could shine like LED lights on it, and like that was one of the things that I thought was really fun. And another thing that I thought was really fun was going outside and going on the stern wheeler. That was a really fun activity that we did.
Oh, you didn't go on the stern wheeler, you went down to the marine park, right? Is that what you're talking about? Did you guys go on the stern? They were doing what they did was they did the Marine Park scavenger hunt when you were down there, right? When you were there, and you went to the museum. Yeah. Can you tell them some of the activities you did with Miss Holloway, who was a person at the school, the librarian at the school?
Some of the activities that I did with Miss Holloway was, I don't have the best mind for this. Oh yeah, we did like these really fun science stuff, and I did really enjoy it. Just like working with science with me, just like really fun.
You want me to help you out?
Yes.
Okay. They part of their camp was that they did an outdoor camp, an outdoor adventure camp, but what is she's talking about? They got to do a scavenger hunt where they got down to the Marine Park, and they also got to tour around and meet people at local businesses. So they got to go to Thirsty and get coffee. They got to get ice cream. They also made with Miss Holloway, do you remember when you made the solar ovens?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they made s'mores out of pizza boxes and things like that. You remember? And so they also traveled around the world. That was something they did. They got to do world art where they got to try food from different countries, right? And so, families have communicated to me last year and this year that one of the needs in the community is just access to safe and affordable childcare. That's like an ongoing issue, I think, for working families. Without summer school, because there wasn't a summer school last year, I'm not sure if there's going to be a formal summer school at the school this year, but without that and a formal recreation program or a formal daycare in town, I think childcare is an ongoing challenge. Last year, our statistics were 75% of the kids were on free or reduced lunch at the school, and so, where camps in Hood River can be as much as $400 a week or $100 a week, the camp that I offer in town is free to families to make it equitable for all of the families to have access to the camp. Additionally, the principal even said last year to me, whether it's summer school or just recreational activities and arts activities, keeping kids' minds engaged in different activities and engaged with each other is really important in the summertime. And then I'll, summarize this fairly quickly, but I mean, in addition to the summer camp just providing activities for the kids, I saw an impact that was on the community at large. For the students, there were many kids that participated in the camp that were new to town, a lot of new families, and this was a way for kids to meet new friends during the summer and solidify friendships before they went into the school year. Additionally, I've continued to keep in contact with the kids by doing art twice a week at the school, and I've seen a lot of those friendships and relationships continue, or especially the arts aspect, right, in the art room. And then the parents also, I've seen a lot, I worked with our parents to re-engage them with the school, so a lot of our camp parents are now engaged in PTO. We had 1 to 2 parents involved with the PTO at the beginning of this school year, and at the last meeting, I think we had 6 to 7 parents show up to PTO. I would say half those parents were camp parents. One in particular has been very active in the PTO this year, helping to raise funds for the school. And then as far as the school is concerned, parents gave feedback through the survey at the end of camp that they really enjoyed traveling, right? And so the school adopted that theme this year into the school to travel around the world. And that's something that they've continued to do, hearing families really enjoyed and engaged with that, right? You guys been traveling? Yeah. And then in addition to that, I think that the community at large was engaged in the camp. Sarah helped facilitate that, going around to local businesses, and they donated things to the camp for the end of the year party, the end of the summer party Sundays. And again, during that week of camp when the kids were out in the community, they went to different locations and got to meet safe, interesting people out in the community. And then I won't read the testimonials, but these are testimonials that the parents gave as part of the camp. One that meant a lot to me was the first one in particular, where a father texted me after filling out the survey to reach out in addition to that, and thanked us for providing the community with the summer camp, and saying that his son absolutely loved the 2 weeks, but not only that, he's never seen him so excited about learning and projects, which was really rewarding to hear that. So I guess I'll open it up to questions at this point, if anybody has any specific questions.
So how many hours a day are you having the kids?
Last summer, we had the kids from, the drop-off was 9:30 until 2.
9:30.
Yeah, so we'll probably keep it around that same time. I'm thinking about maybe potentially extending it a little bit, but keep it around that same time.
So where are you basing it at the school?
What?
You're basing it at the school, is that where they're being dropped
No,
off
last
at?
year it was based out of the school. As long as I get the final approval from the court, we'll be doing it on the court property this summer.
At the east end? Out at the east
North,
library?
at the north end.
At where?
Business park.
At the, yeah,
Out in the business park though, yeah.
yeah, so right past the Frisbee golf.
Yeah, and you're planning on cleaning some of the dryers and all that up
Yeah,
there?
so you know
Getting
this,
access to the water?
yeah,
I'm loving that.
no, do you know that location?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what a great area to
yeah, so all
to
the way at the
establish
end.
something like this.
Yeah, so all the way at the end, and then you just go down
Yeah,
that slight road.
yeah.
There's the clearing, then the beach,
Yeah, what a
the
great,
rocky beach.
yeah.
Yeah, so the idea being, Jan and I already went down and took a tour of that piece of land, but clearing out the blackberries will just make a bigger
Yeah.
expanse. And we talked about, you know, I've talked to Brad about this too, but potentially putting some posts up, and they're not going to be permanent, but then putting some shade cover down there just to make it colorful for the kids and help block the sun. And I mean, another thing that the Oregon Episcopal School has donated or offered is that, you know, if there's interest of the kids doing a service project out there from their school, whether it's like building a picnic table or a bench or something like that, or I talked to Jan about maybe planting native plants down there and helping clear out that area, that's something they'd be interested in doing too. So, any additional questions?
Well, I've asked around a little bit about it, and the people I've talked to said it went really well. Said it was a good program. And they appreciate you and Deb coming over to the school for
Yeah.
the things you're doing over there with the art too, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So you say you got camp director and staff, so how many people are you planning on staffing?
Yeah, so this year, I'm planning on hiring the director for the 4-week duration, and then hiring one staff person for 4 weeks that'll be there the whole time, and then another staff person that's there that last week. So 2 staff the final week. So 4 weeks, and then that final week. And they have we all have approximately like 30 hours a week when we're at camp, because the staff get a little bit of prep time too as part of that.
Yeah, I have a couple of curiosity questions. When you were working with a school district, did you come under their umbrella for liability or background checks and any of all that?
So that first week of camp, where we'll be on the water, Oregon Episcopal School we're going to go under their high risk insurance because we're going to be on the water. And then Enviro Village, I have liability insurance through Enviro Village that covers our camps. But the water insurance is more expensive. So when they're physically on the water, the kids will actually register through the Oregon Episcopal School camp so that they get the high risk insurance when they're on the water. And I'll tell you, the reason I also, first off, that area is beautiful over there, and the access to water is nice. But the other reason that I chose that area is because it's so shallow there, the water. So if kids fall in, I mean, we're not going to let them in the water. It's in that cove over there, so the water is very calm. But if the kids do tip out, it's not as shallow. I mean, it's shallow over there, especially along the beach for the little ones as they're learning.
And as you probably already know, each year we have some money that we can use for different recreation or different, nonprofits or different things like that. And so we're just getting ready to go through a budget process. Mm-hmm. And before I make a decision personally, I'd like to see where we're at and what other entities are in competition for this money besides mm-hmm. this, so we can figure that out.
Okay.
Have you teamed up with community ed at all? Do you do anything with community ed? Because I know River County's got community ed, which has supported us mm-hmm. through insurances and things like that. and some financial help too. Do you do anything with them?
My day job is doing contract work with the district, and Matt Rankin's my boss. So Matt's actually the head of community education right now.
So do you do anything?
Well, and in some ways I have my own insurance, so I haven't needed to go through them. And they also are often a fee-based. I mean, their activities are fee-based, and I think that has been a challenge previously, because I do agree with you, Tom. I contemplated that when we were doing activities even last summer, when we tried to do the swim bus, et cetera, through them. Cost is an issue, I think. Even with the swim bus, we didn't have a huge interest. We only had 2 families that wanted to participate in that. And I don't know, 2 or 3, and I don't know if that was because of cost, because we were charging some money for that. So I'm not sure. When I surveyed the parents, I mean, there were 1 or 2 that said that they could pay for camp at a somewhat equivalent rate, maybe like $50, $100. But I would say the majority of the parents did not say that they could afford like a fee for the camp. And so I don't know if that was a deterrent for the swim bus through community ed, but it was we didn't have an interest. And we made multiple attempts, and I even advertised it through the camp. So I think the fees are part of the challenge. So, but I know community ed is involved over the school, because I think there's basketball through community ed, so there, because you do basketball, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, I know, but historically, they've tried to be involved in the community too, and there's a lot of things that they have going that, for them that help, but I do know that part of it they put in money, but part of it they ask for money, and whether that's more than we can,
Right.
that may be the issue, is even the part that they ask for is just higher than.
Yeah, I think that the cost of a lot of their activities are just higher than a lot of our families could afford. I do think that they do scholarship in kids, I think, but in terms of scale and the expense of some of their camps, et cetera, they're just out of our price range for a lot of our families.
Do you have a question there, Sarah?
No.
Good. Oh, yeah.
If I can answer Richard's budget question, we have a $10,000 line item in this year's budget. We've spent almost $2,000, so there's like $8,000 left in that line item for community programs like recreation. And I imagine there's going to be another amount in the next budget, because that's one of the goals that you put in, is to fund some kind of recreation. So if you wanted to, split it, do 5,000 in this budget and 5,000 in next budget, you can make that kind of commitment if you like.
So I asked at the school too about the preschool, and they say that they still, for this next year, they're still gonna need help. Is that part of that same budget, or?
It's the same
We
line
helped them
item,
before.
it's the same line item, but I think we gave them 5,000.
We did.
Yeah, which you would have room in the new budget to do that too, so.
Okay,
Yeah, we haven't done that.
So keep that in mind too, because it sounded like they're gonna need, apparently the state's starting to step up to some of these things.
Yes,
But they're looking like they're still gonna need at least 1 more year of help if they can get it.
okay,
Our budget ends when?
June 30th?
June. So this is in July.
Right,
So
but she would need some upfront
I
costs.
gotcha.
We've got some vendors that that made some pretty good money off us over the years here, and I don't know would it be appropriate for the city to say, go to some of the vendors we have, such as Crestline or Hood River Garbage or something like that, who have assisted us like I know at times during Christmas, but maybe being able to approach them and say, is there anything you guys could do to help us out with these programs? Maybe even our law firm. I mean, that's what a lot of people do, is they go, and if you put money in to a business, they make good money off of it. Sometimes you go ask for if there's anything you'd like to contribute towards a program. So I think, I don't know, but I know people have done that. And, same with the port. The port has people who make decent money from them.
And I will say this, because part of my job, my day job is working with the Excel program. I mean, that's my contract job with the district this year. And I think that there is potential, especially going into next year, with more partnerships, because the Excel program does the after-school program at the school, and they have their own separate funding. They don't do a summer camp, but I think there's opportunities to kind of continue recreation, or, as I develop partnerships with, let's say, somebody who does mountain biking or other things that want to stay connected with our kids, we're definitely always in need of partnerships through the Excel program, and the Excel program can help fund some of those opportunities. And we are always looking for community partners, similar to something like 4-H or et cetera, to partner to kind of offer a variety of activities for the kids at the school. So I think that that's something we look at going forward. And again, PTO also having a bigger group of parents involved and looking for opportunities to keep their kids engaged. I mean, I think there's partnership opportunities as we go forward to build off of what we would do in the summer camp also. But I will say this, just one time we did an art activity at Thirsty during the winter, where we did like ceramic mug painting that like Enviro Village partnered with Thirsty. And I will tell you, the need is there, as you all probably know. I mean, we put that art activity online and on Facebook, and within less than 24 hours, it was full. And we had spots for like 20, it was like a mom and child, or a guardian and child like activity, and it was filled with in less than 24 hours after posting. So I do, and we were charging a small fee for that, but I do think that, as we all know, there's a need for these types of activities, especially on weekends, etc. And definitely an interest from the parents.
Bruce, is there anything you want to add to this?
It's just that it would be great to do something for the kids this summer.
Okay, then we'll kick this around, and this is a great time to do that, because this is where we're going to our budget process, so it's a real appropriate time for that. And thanks for coming with us. Very articulate.
She did really good. I was hoping to connect with her before the meeting, and
Yeah.
she just was waiting. So
Yeah.
she's just brave to be talking out loud with you all. So thank you for having her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Okay, review of water rate increase dedicated to water leaks.
The mayor asked at our planning meeting, our goal setting session, to review what the 25-cent increase that we did in 2013-2014 year has accomplished. So you'll see there in down the middle of the page, the total gallons of water used. That's in thousands of gallons, by the way. We collected in the third column about $14,000 average per year, a little higher this year at this point. But it also shows what we spent. So we spent about 60% of the budget available. On leak repairs. So we have currently a carryover right now of almost $40,000 if we have a larger repair. So the question was, what do we do? During that same time period, from 2013-14 to 2018-19, our personnel, materials, and supplies budget has increased 21%. Since our average water user uses 4,000 to 5,000 gallons a month, the 25-cent increase costs $1 to $1.25. And then I've laid out some options, and I'm sure there's other options that you can think of what to do with that money. But that's the report in honor of what we've done with that money that has been raised.
Well, personally looking at it, I think, because I know that, it's gaining a little bit more each year but with that, it's not that much. It doesn't take much of a water leak to, and how much of our system, because I think some people, when they think that we went over this, you know, we redid our water system, we didn't do all of our water system. How much of our water system, actually, a majority of our water system still hasn't been repaired, right?
The main lines are
Right.
repaired,
Right.
but not the laterals that run up the street.
Which is more distance than the main line.
Right, and what we found, for example, up, Picker Road, Wheeler Street. You know, if we have a series of leaks that we've gone in and repaired, like one every 50 feet, then it would make sense to go in and just repair the line all the way up to the end. We haven't had to do that yet, but that's coming in the future as those pipes age. But our main lines are in great shape all the way through town. It's the laterals that go up the streets and service the different customers that have the greater risk of failure.
And personally looking at this, I think that for my own thing is probably should keep it, because really, it is being used.
It is.
It is being used, and there is the potential for heavier use of it here, and as this goes, because there's still a lot of water system that's gonna need repair, and it's probably not gonna be repaired by a major project like we did. It's gonna be repaired through the water leak process, and when they're, like you say, when you have too many, it's go in and redo that whole section. Yeah.
And a 10-cent reduction saves somebody 40 cents a month. They don't even know it.
So any comment?
Yeah,
It's just discussion we're doing here.
right, yeah. But, yeah, I'm listening to everybody, and it just seems to me the wise thing to do would be to, from what I'm thinking about, is to, since the 25 cents a month is, you know, people have been paying it for quite a while, and it's not that much, and we got some possible contingency requirements coming up that we should maintain the 25 cents for future repair.
Well, it's obviously being used for what we intended it to be used for, so, yeah. Bruce, is there anything you want to comment on this?
Yes, I have a question. I mean, now this money is dedicated just for leaks only, or
Yeah.
at some point, if we build a good reserve in it, we could take some of that money for like a matching grant or something to repair a section?
You probably aren't going to get any grants to repair what the water utility should be repairing through its rate structure.
Well, I'm talking about replacement.
It's the same
Not
difference.
repairs per se. I used the wrong language, but yeah.
Yeah, the responsible utility sets aside monies for major projects in the future, and that's what our capital reserve fund does.
Well, I know, but it seemed like when we came up against that a couple of years ago, we didn't have much of a reserve to do that with.
Why? Because we've been trying to maintain the rates.
Yes, and I understand that. I'm just saying that money could be used for that if it was necessary.
Only with
It's
council
not, this
approval.
doesn't have to stay in leak repair, right?
Only with council approval.
Oh.
That
Yeah.
carryover is in the line item for the materials and supplies to repair the leaks.
What the leak
I
repair,
would approve, but okay.
what the leak repair does is it allows you to put money into your reserves instead of being taken out of reserves to do some of these leaks. So if this stays in here, it allows you to go out and keep repairing leaks. Eventually, you build up your reserve enough to where you can do those
We have
major
not moved
projects.
any monies from the operating budget to the capital reserve for this. We can put that into the budget if you would like to see that. We've maintained it in the line item. We've increased the line item by the reserve amount every year. Whichever way you want to do it.
You're saying what on this?
We instead of increasing the line item every year for what we haven't used, which is what we have done to this juncture over the last 6 years, we can take that 39,000 and we can move it to capital reserve and label it for leak repair. But, again, then we'd have to, move it back.
Well, I think that I have no problem with it as long as it gets labeled leak repair and that's what, because we did this.
Dedicated to stroke.
Yeah, and
We did this in lieu of going to the citizens, we felt it was a really important thing to do.
Right.
So if I moved anything somewhere else in this thing, because that's where it's supposed to be, is this line item,
right, and we
then
have
I want to be very clear in the reserves that that piece of the reserve is going to leak repair.
And again, what we have done so far is we've upped the budget of the materials and services
Right.
materials line by the unused amount. So, and it's what you prefer, how you want to see it. You want to see it, leave it in that line item, have it available to us immediately operationally, or do you want to take it out, put it in a reserve account that's labeled leak repair, and then when we have the requirement for the leak we moved the 40% over.
Yeah,
not
but
the 60%.
you can bring the reserve to it if you need it. If I got
Yes.
$40,000 in that line item and I have a problem, I can use that $40,000 and go in my reserves.
If you need to,
Anyway.
yes,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if I leave them here, I'm gonna get to use that anyway.
right,
All right,
right. What I'm trying to tell you is we're not moving it anyplace else to use it.
okay,
We haven't this far.
okay.
That's what it was gotten from the citizens for a specific reason, and I don't, I looked at this offset increases in other areas of the budget. That's not what this was for.
No,
So that, I don't like that there.
I
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, it needs to stay what it was originally.
think we got that message.
and we can do that.
I just
Okay,
put
we
it in
can,
there.
we can absolutely do that.
Right.
All right, thank you. We'll build the budget that way. But it was interesting to put these numbers together
So-
and see.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I think it was appropriate for us, I think people wanna know that we're keeping an eye on actions we take.
And we collected $100,000 and spent $50,000, $90,000, spent $50,000 on leaks in the last 6 years. That's, I don't know if it's impressive or not, but we've repaired
Yeah,
a
but we
lot of
did,
leaks.
yeah.
Well-
I mean, it was-
We're out doing another one today, so. Thank you.
Thank you. City Administrator Zimmerman's report.
Thank you. Just one quick note before I get started. You have your instructions on your statement of economic interest. It needs to be done by April 15th. Oh, wait, sorry, you can do it online. If you remember, back on February 10th, we had that tractor trailer collision. This is a question for you. We have two small city allotment grants. The one in the budget for this year for $100,000 is matched by $70,000 out of the street fund to pave $60,000 out of the street fund. That's state monies and $10,000 from Crestline, 170 total. That is used or planned to be used on paving Forest Lane from Hammond, from Wanapa to Hammond. That's the repair for the water project. We were going to repave that whole street. We also applied for and received another $100,000 grant for a safety concern at the Herman Creek at-grade railroad crossing. With the impetus, catalyst of the collision that was held out there, or because the tractor or the trailer got high-centered on that grade, does it make sense to take the $170,000 in this fiscal year, ending June 30th? We have the engineering, what needs to be done, the profile of approach to the tracks, and the north side of the tracks needs to be more gradual. We have to move the driveway from SML trucking and the residents 100 feet back from the tracks. And that's basically it. We have the engineering, but we have not bid it. If we bid it and it comes in under 170,000 or close to 170,000, we could do that immediately this year. And then in the next fiscal year, where we were projecting to do another $170,000 for the small city allotment grants, the $100,000 from the small city allotment, and $70,000 from the road fund to do the paving. The advantage to doing it in the fall is when ODOT is coming through paving from the bridge to Forest Lane, we could couple with that contractor to continue the paving down Forest Lane. We may get a break on the cost since they're already in town. There is some sense in doing that, but in the budget says we do Forest Lane before June 30th, and we do the railroad crossing after June 30th. Does it make sense to switch them? That's my question.
Does to me. What do you think? Go ahead.
When that road was redone a couple of years ago, a few years ago.
Railroad did it.
Oh, wasn't that the railroad that did that?
Yes.
So why are they not doing it now?
The impetus for the reason that we're looking at doing this right now is for the train horn quiet zone. It is currently a private crossing in the name of the board. In order to make it a public crossing, in other words, taken over by the city, ODOT Rail says the city has to fix it and make it more closer to the federal standards of the profile. The railroad's happy with what they've done. They're not going to do any more. But if we want a quiet zone, and that's one end of the quiet zone, we have to make it a public crossing. In order to make it a public crossing, we have to bring it up to national railway standards.
Back in the day, nobody liked it when they did that. I mean, they went too high and they told them that it was too high.
You're absolutely right. We've had two trailers hung up on it. The first one we were able to get off before a train came. This last time, at least we got the train slowed down. But in the effort to make that a public crossing, ODOT Rail, State Department of Transportation Rail Division, is requiring us to improve that profile. And that's why the ODOT Small City Allotment Program gave us $100,000 to do that. The inquiry is still out to Union Pacific Railroad for help with that. They are investigating what they can do since they had damage to an engine. They might want to put some skin in the game. The port, in an effort to, if it goes over 170 but is less than 177,500, they're willing to kick in $7,500. And if I can get some more from the railroad, we just haven't bid it yet. With the way bid prices are, I hate to even guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless we bid it, we won't know. I just think as a safety concern.
Well, if the stock market drops down a little bit more, we'll be able to get some good bids. As the economy changes. Anyway.
Can I have permission to bid that?
Where we
Yes.
at? Where you at, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm in, it seems like, if it's happened twice, it's gonna happen again if we don't fix it, so it's better off if we take care of it.
And it also moves us one step closer to the quiet zone between Gramblet Way and Herman Creek Lane.
So where are you at on it, Sarah?
Well, I guess that's what we gotta do. I'm just thinking, well, it wasn't safe then. Why was it built like that in the first place?
Right.
To me, and it's Union Pacific has so much money, and I just have trouble for asking a small town like us to put in so much money
If
for
Union
that.
Pacific had their way, they would close every
They would
at-grade
close it.
crossing.
Yeah.
Because that way there's nothing to hit the train or the train hit. And if you want the price to do an overpass there,
So are we good with it? Switching around, taking care of that one.
Thank you. You remember the 2004 Ford F-550 that needed a $5,000 transmission? We took it down to the auction house. Somebody bought it for $11,000. After commission and costs, the city netted $10,040 for a truck that was in pretty sad shape.
Where does that go?
That goes back to the street, water, and sewer funds, the capital reserves, where the truck was bought out of. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Number 3, the Transportation Growth Management Program application came across my desk. Our transportation system plan was last done in 2001. If the state is willing to give us $250,000, which is about what it would cost to do a new transportation system plan with all of the changes that have been instituted by you as the council and that have brought growth with the port, with the residences, we've gone from 62 million to 100 million. We've got $25 million of development on the books. Our population has increased about 25%. The number of houses has increased 25%. It may make sense to revisit the transportation system plan if the state will pay for it. I'm not gonna pay for it. If they tell us no, then, we'll just limp along with what we've got. Does that make sense to send?
Go ask for it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Submit a pre-application, and if they're willing to entertain it and come back with a full application, then I will let you know.
You good with that, Bruce?
Yeah, it's always better to operate on somebody else's money.
Thank you. The port has been approached by the Boy Scouts to do a cleanup on Saturday at the Easy Climb Trail. They're going to take out some blackberries and do some, maybe it's down at the beach where the program is going to go. It's from the business park from 10 to 1 if anybody wants to go down and help. We had a joint museum meeting scheduled for tomorrow. The port cannot make it, and the museum has asked that we reschedule the meeting for the Port, City, and Museum meeting to March 11th at 6 o'clock in the council chambers. It's a Wednesday night. Is that okay?
Yep. I don't want to today. I'm good with that.
Thank you. This Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be attending the City County Insurance Service Conference. This is when we find out what our rates are going to be for the next year. It's in Salem, far from home. And the next week, the mayor and I will be in Washington, D.C., meeting with our congressional delegations. That's from both sides of the river in support of the port and their efforts. But we also have a meeting on Monday with the Economic Development Administration to talk about our electric utility project that I think they're going to fund, but we are currently, they're awaiting, the EDA the State Historic Preservation Office is requiring that we do a cultural resource survey. What that means is you have to go look out where the project's going to be, if there's any Native American artifacts or could be any Native American artifacts. Then we have to take protections, put protections in place when we do our project, which makes sense. When I contacted the Ford Tree Tribes, the Warm Springs responded and said, no, we know that ground has already been disturbed. We're okay if you just have an archaeologist or a cultural resource specialist on site when you do the work. State Historic Preservation did not accept that. They said, no, you have to go out and do a survey ahead of time. So I sent a request for proposal to 13 archaeologists in Portland and one in LeGrand that we have used before. So far, 2 have responded. I'm awaiting one more that is going to be responding. The prices range between, I think it's like $8,000 and $15,000 to do that. There is potential to have it reimbursed by the EDA when we get the grant, if they choose to give us the grant, which is still not 100%. I'm thinking it would just be easier pay the cultural resource, because the steps to get the EDA to reimburse us are almost more onerous than it has been to get the grant. But I'm still waiting for the final bid to come in and a proposal to come in, and we will take the lowest proposal and get that done, so that the final step on the EDA grant, after SHPO has bought off on what our cultural resource survey has said or requires, is a legal review by the EDA attorneys, and then they should give us the money. The Skamania Public Utility District got $7.4 million for their project from this same fund. And they're just, we are right at the end of this whole process. It's taken 2 or 3 years to get to this point, but if SHPO buys off on it after we do the cultural resource survey, then the EDA will give us they aren't gonna, we're not gonna go through this whole thing and have them tell us, no, we're not gonna do it. They would have told us that a long time. But anyway, the mayor and I have a meeting with Darmika, I can't remember her last name, Stanfield, I think, on Monday, next Monday at noon, to talk to the EDA about the project. Given that I will be out of the office for the next week and a half, I will not have an opportunity to create the agenda or write any staff reports for the agenda for the March 9th meeting. And since we're meeting again on March 11th with the museum, would it be all right with you if we cancel the March 9th meeting and just reschedule to do the joint meeting with the port and the museum, and then come back in regular session on March 23rd?
That's a Wednesday, right?
The March 11th is a Wednesday, March 9th is our regular Monday meeting.
Oh, so you want to reschedule on the 11th?
Yeah, to just have the Port City Museum meeting on March 11th, where we're going to talk about the museum and relationships between the 3 entities,
Right.
and cancel the March 9th meeting, and then come back on March 23rd, when Patty Fink from the CAT, Columbia Area Transit, will be here to talk to us.
I'm good with that.
If that's okay with the rest of you.
Good
I'm
then.
trying to give you a break, a little
You
vacation.
good with that, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, we'll do that. Watch us on YouTube and like and share us on Facebook. And fill out your statement of economic interest.
Yeah. Thank you. Mayor and City Council comments. Bruce, you get to start the comments.
I really don't have anything, Your Honor, but thank you.
You're welcome. Sarah?
Well, I was happy that Christy came and was asking for help, and I think that it's great that the numbers came up with kids, and I think we do need stuff like that. And I'm excited to get the paving and stuff rolling on that. I hope everything goes smooth with that, and I guess that's it. Everybody have a great night.
Richard?
Yeah, I would like to thank Larry Cramlett and Gary Munkoff for their service to our community. They both jumped off of the planning commission, and they did a lot of groundwork going through a time when development really needed some eyeballs on, some good community leaders that figure things out. I appreciate that. Also, the project between the old fire hall and the post office is nearing completion, besides the resurfacing of that one area. It will bring some charm to our downtown area and provide a much needed service to our visitors. I want to thank everyone for their patience during the construction stage of this valuable project for our community. I also want to thank the President for signing 3 bills and our state senators and congressmen for their work on those bills to help help meet our treaty obligations in support of tribal sovereignty and native culture, including restoration of some native lands, tribes, and updating and building new facilities and quarters for the Nezquiers, Umatilla, Warren Springs, and Yakima tribes on the Columbia River. Long overdue. Thank you. Good to see the government working.
Good, thanks. Linda?
I don't have anything except for just to continue to thank the staff.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I went to, Gordon and I went to Salem for the One Gorge thing, so it was the event where all the governments here in the Gorge can meet with representatives and congressmen and senators. And there were a number of them there, including Republican senators. So that they were at it too, but it was a good event. It was, I believe it was well attended. It was in a nice facility, and Cascade Locks was well represented there. So they all get a good feel for things we're doing, where we're heading, and yeah, I thought it went well. What did you?
It went very well. The Cascade Locks was kind of highlighted because the renewal workshop was there, Freem was there with their new building, and they were passing out alcoholic beverages. You know, I met a lot of people I haven't seen for a long time. I mean, we had lobbyists, old lobbyists from the League of Oregon Cities were there, and we caught up. Betsy Johnson was there, one of the premier state senators from downriver, was there, and was very impressed with the energy that's going on in Cascade Locks right now. It wasn't just Cascade Locks, but a lot of the growth, is occurring here right now. And the reason it's occurring here is because of the decisions you've made to increase the electrical capacity, increase the water capacity, and beginning to do the wastewater improvements. When we have the infrastructure, growth can occur. If you don't have the infrastructure, you can't do growth. So it's exciting to see Freem that's here. The renewal workshop should be breaking ground this spring on a report in behalf of the renewal workshop on a 40,000 square foot building, which will employ up to 100 people here in the next 2 to 3 years. We've got the Thunder Island development that's going on Main Street, the Gorge's Beer, the other microbrewery restaurant should be breaking ground here this spring. When the sunshine came here a week or so ago, developers came out of the woodwork. Kathy was so busy meeting with people about, well, we want to develop this piece of property, or we want to develop this piece of property. What do I have to do? What do I have to do here? We've got more interest in more housing. But we've got a developer that is looking to put 34 units in the Windsong area. They have to do some things first before they can get there. But it was when the sun started shining, they just lined up at the door, and we had them stacked to meet with Kathy. And so it's really gratifying to see the fruits of your labor. And just one other thought, we had a museum board meeting today. If you haven't been down to the museum lately, they are rapidly refurbishing the exhibits that are there. There's going to be a quilt exhibit there through September. Where quilts that are in the museum, quilts that have been donated to various entities. The quilt that was done for the city in 2014 will be on display. There's some really good energy, and you're going to hear about that in our March 11th meeting. But it's only been 4 months since we hired some full-time staff. They're doing a great job with that museum. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm done. So other matters? All right, in executive session?
You want one?
Oh, I'm good.
I got Glenda's evil eye on that one.
Well, I'm open to adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.